Obviously, it's a matter of time before I'm covering the Hindi and Bhojpuri and whatever. But I think they actually will. I think Delhi are going to get in the playoffs. Everyone loves a happy ending. Everyone loves that. And there'll be a Bollywood movie made about Delhi's season in a couple of years' time. But all seamers everywhere around the world, get behind the line in the nets. If you want to come to the Signet Sport Academy with Graeme Swann, there's a strict no ball policy. If your foot goes over that line, I chase you with a big. And he's very calm. He's very assured. He's like a young MS Dhoni, I think, when he's captain. If I could go back and choose a player to bat like, it would be like Sanju Samson. He's brilliant and he looks the part. It should just be the players on the paper who play the games, but nonsense, Scott. The impact player works, mate. I'm waiting for the Rajasthan Royals to give me a call, actually. I reckon I could bowl 4 overs and then sit in the dugout and talk to Sangakkara for the next 16. That'd be no problem.
Hello and welcome to Cricketnext YouTube channel. I am Vineet Ramakrishnan and today we have a very special guest with us, former England cricketer and I dare say one of the most popular, if not the popular, IPL expert on Jio Cinema, Graeme Swann. Welcome, Graeme. Warm welcome to you. This has been one of the closest IPLs. We are reaching the business end of the tournament and yet there is no team which is out of the race for the playoffs, essentially. So many last ball finishes. Your thoughts on the tournament so far?
Well, to be honest, it's starting to annoy me now that Rajasthan have lost 5 games in a row because I thought that they were clear and they were safe, and now they've been dragged into it. And I think it's amazing. It's actually brilliant how well all the different teams are playing. Anyone could beat anyone on their day in this Tata IPL, and it's not been like that since I've been covering it for 5 or 6 years, and there's always been 2 teams who are way ahead of everyone else. I mean, Gujarat are the most successful team at the minute. And yet they could lose tomorrow to anyone, and they have been losing games as well. So I think it's brilliant. And the fact that Delhi, who have been bottom the whole time, and I mean, they were dreadful at the start of this tournament, let's face it. With all the talent, they just weren't performing. They could easily finish 2nd or 3rd if they win their remaining games and results go their way. And that's crazy. And I think they actually will. I think Delhi are going to get in the playoffs just because I love a rags to riches tale. I love, the Bollywood. Everyone loves a happy ending. Everyone loves that. And, there'll be a Bollywood movie made about Delhi's season in a couple of years' time. You mark my words.
That would be great. That would be a good story to tell. But you touched upon Rajasthan Royals, and there's no iota of doubt in my mind that you're a huge Rajasthan Royals fan and Sanju Samson fan, of course. What has gone wrong with Rajasthan? You mentioned 4 losses. What exactly has gone wrong for them?
Honestly, I thought the other night they'd turned the corner because I thought as soon as Josh scores runs again and gets back in form, Rajasthan always win. And he got that brilliant 95. And let's face it, Rajasthan did win the game, only for the no ball Claxton to go and they had to go and try all over again. I mean, it was just spinners don't bowl no balls. All right. So I've got no time for people who bowl no balls. That was heartbreaking. I think Sandeep Sharma's been brilliant in this IPL. But all seamers everywhere around the world, get behind the line in the nets. When you train, get a foot behind the line if you need to. It doesn't make you... That is not a great difference in speed when you let go of the ball, but it is a massive difference in winning or losing a game. And when I played, and now I coach Trent Rockets, I always watch the seamer and say, what are you doing? Get behind it. And there's always an excuse. Oh, no, I don't bowl them in games. Well, you do bowl them in games. So, right. And if you want to come to the Signet Sport Academy with Graeme Swann, there's a strict no ball policy. If your foot goes over that line, I chase you with a big stick.
I'll stick to Rajasthan Royals here and specifically to Sanju Samson. Again, the guy is in spotlight. He scores runs. He doesn't score run. You can't take him out of the conversation. Your thoughts about him, as a player, as a captain now, your thoughts?
Sanju, what I love about Sanju is, like I say, over the 5 or 6 years I've been covering the IPL, he has become more and more the leader and the consistent player and senior player that his talent sort of beckoned and destined him to be. Let's face it, 4 or 5 years ago, everyone knew how good he was, but he'd easily go 6 or 7 games doing nothing and then have a brilliant knock. I think now he's almost Mr. Dependable for Rajasthan, and he's very calm. He's very assured. He's like a young MS Dhoni, I think, when he's captain with his captaincy. He doesn't lose his calm, doesn't lose his cool. He knows what's going on. He reads the game well. And his interview actually after that game the other day was brilliant because he didn't blame anyone, but he just said, we can't do that. We won that game, and then it's our fault that we didn't win that game, and that's not acceptable. I loved that. I thought he was excellent. And you know, his batting reminds me of myself, obviously. If I could go back and choose a player to bat like, it would be like Sanju Samson. He's brilliant, and he looks the part.
Great line also. I mean, you remind him of a young Dhoni. Great line. I'll move on a bit. I'll move on to the impact player rule. And you've seen that. I mean, teams have been using it. It's been, 3-4 weeks now. Players like Amit Mishra, Piyush Chawla have been used as impact players quite a lot. Your assessment of how the teams have used this impact player, do you think there are teams who have nailed it, or it is still something, they have still yet to maximize it, the teams?
I think some teams have got it and work it well. Other teams haven't got a clue what they're doing. But, I think it's because it's new. And I think as coaches and captains get more used to it, I think personally it's a very good rule. I love it. I love the fact that you can have that extra bowler, extra batsman. I think it's all about getting the highest quality. I know there's some old fuddy-duddies who think that it should just be the players on the paper who play the games, but nonsense, Scott. The impact player works, mate. I'm a massive soccer fan, football fan, because I'm English. We all are. And the substitution rule is brilliant. It can change your game in the last 10 minutes. And just because you're dominating a game for the first 3 quarters, if you've not bothered to sort your bench out and your impact players who come on, then you lose the game. And I think cricket is desperate for that. And I've got no problem with older guys who, can't field very well anymore because they're old and past it, but they can still bat. I've no problem with them getting 100 and then sitting down, letting a youngster dive and be spectacular in the field. I'm not saying that anyone does that at the minute, but, it will happen that people will just play as specialist batsmen, specialist bowlers, and I've got no issue with that. I'm waiting for the Rajasthan Royals to give me a call, actually. I reckon I could bowl 4 overs and then sit in the dugout and talk to Sangakkara for the next 16. That'd be no problem.
Great. I mean, that would be great. You touched upon football, and my next question is pretty much on those lines in terms of player contracts are becoming a big, talking point. Trent Boult let go of his central contract for franchise cricket. You saw Joshua Little, even though he's, playing for Ireland, he'll miss out on the test at Lord's because he'll have IPL commitments. Do you think, and there are reports of multi-million, pound deals to England players who quit international cricket to play more of franchise. You think this is the future, step towards a football model of elite players? You think that's the future? Your thoughts on that?
Yeah, I think it is the future. Let's face it. The one thing that grows and grows is franchise cricket and T20 cricket. And the one thing that is stagnating is especially 50 over bilateral cricket and Test cricket, unfortunately. In England, it is enormous still, Test cricket. It's supported wholeheartedly in the England team but it's just not the case around the rest of the world. I think it's a real shame myself because I think they can live alongside each other. But I wouldn't be surprised if some players decide, look, I just want to play franchise cricket and want to do that all year round. And that's how the future's going to be. While it's making as much money as it is, it's not going to go away. So there's no point being stuck in the past and saying, well, you should be playing for your country and playing Test cricket. If you don't want to, then don't. There'll still be people out there who want to play Test cricket, especially in England or Australia because of the Ashes. But it's not got the same sort of appetite with younger players, it seems, as with my generation. This Test cricket is still the greatest form of cricket, without a doubt. For me, I adore it, and I always will. But I love T20 as well.
Great. One final question, Swann, before I run out of time. Harry Brook has one of the major signings this season. There's no doubt, on his talent. It was evident with that 100 he scored against KKR. But apart from that, it means it's actually been a real struggle for him. Your take on, what's wrong with him, or it's like, the IPL teams did their homework well against him, or what is it he has to do or differently?
I think with Harry, it is all in his head. It's a confidence thing. And every cricketer knows how hard it is when suddenly you get out of form. He got a brilliant 100, which seemed to ease the pressure, but rather than ease the pressure, kind of ramped up on him because then he was expected to keep doing it. that is, I'm not going to say a drawback, but that is one of the pitfalls of being an international superstar. As a young bloke, when he plays in the England team, he's still a youngster within a lot of experienced players and still fairly free to go out. And if it doesn't happen for him, someone else will pick up the reins. In the IPL, the overseas players are massive. They're the match winners. They've got all the money spent on them. So if they're not picking up like scoring 100 or averaging 60 or whatever, doing what Faf du Plessis is doing, for instance, and very quickly the team falls by the wayside. So it's hard. It's taking the jump from being a junior to a senior player without doing the middle bit that most people do as they grow up. So Harry's brilliant, and his confidence as soon as he comes back. I've seen him for 12, 18 months in an England shirt doing things that I haven't seen any batsman from England even dare to think of doing. And trust me, the 100 you saw is a glimpse of how good he is. I hope he gets back in the team before the end of this IPL, and I think he should. And I hope he finds some form, because if Harry's going well, then Sunrisers will win.
Right off the bat, as I mentioned, you're quite popular on JioCinema, the platform. So how has been the experience for you in terms of calling the matches on JioCinema, and a bit of insight, into JioCinema's coverage and the insiders and the hangout feeds, and how that has been different from, the regular feeds that call the game?
Yeah, well, it's amazing. I mean, being here at the famous studios, first and foremost, the whole breadth of how many channels, how many languages we're covering. Obviously, it's a matter of time before I'm covering the Hindi and Bhojpuri and whatever. But for now, just being in the insiders, it's great. I think it's a very fresh take on how to commentate cricket. It's like sitting in the change room with former players, and not having to go at anyone else. But there's a formality to other commentary that I've done before, and it's not as free. I don't think you get the same insights that you get with the insiders. And it's a joy to sort of be the chairman. I'm going to call myself the chairman of the insiders just to annoy Scott Styris. But I think just to be there and sitting next to people like Anil Kumble and Zach Zahir Khan, obviously, and Chris Gale and AB de Villiers and Graeme Smith, and getting the insider knowledge, sort of what they would think in this particular, not generically what a coach would think. What do you think? What does this player specifically think? And is going on at this precise moment in time. You can't get that knowledge just from commentating and just from being, an expert in the game. But you can get this knowledge, and we can draw it out of these guys. So I'm absolutely loving that aspect of it. And I also get to have a lot of fun as well, because if you're sat there watching cricket with your friends, you enjoy it. You have a lot of fun, and I think that's where the insiders is really top notch, because we get to properly enjoy ourselves and sometimes talk. It doesn't seem like we're concentrating on the game, but we really are. And when the action happens, bang, we're on it. But you might find out a few more things that you never knew you wanted to know until we tell you.
Great. Yeah, great answer. Thank you, Graeme, for your time. It was lovely chatting with you, and again, enjoying your expert analysis on JioCinema as well. So yeah, thank you.
Thanks, mate. Good on you. See you later.